Alright, guys, let's talk about Elden Ring. So I have been trying to make this video for a while. I am actually making a video on my computer as opposed to my phone, so it will probably seem different. Hopefully better. The goal is to do better videos. That's what we're going to try to do. Surprisingly enough, I'm doing okay with the webcam. The mic's not working as well as I want to. If the volume's bad, I apologize, guys. But we're going to do this anyways. So, I thought I wanted to do an impressions video on Elden Ring. I figured around 30-hour mark would be a good amount of time to make that video. However, I did not do it at 30 hours. I am much further. Obviously, I'll show you right here, past 30 hours. Um, if that gives you any indication about the majority of this video, I am absolutely loving the game. And this is everything I'm going to tell you guys in this video is coming from a non-Souls player. I am terrible at the games, absolutely terrible. Uh, I've played a little bit of Demon Souls. I played Bloodborne a few times. I think I live streamed that at least a couple times. I'm horrible at all the games. But the point is, if I'm bad at these games and I love this game that much, there's something else going on. And I kind of just wanted to talk about that for a few minutes today. I hope you enjoy it. So if first thing I want to do is just go over like what is so good about the game, the pros about it for me, obviously. You know, number one, which is the most obvious thing I think that separates this from the other Souls games, is just the open worldness factor to the game. It's absolutely amazing. I love it so much. I love open world games. I love to be able to explore and find secrets, and there's a lot of secrets in this game. To just find those little nooks and crannies. And they do such a good job with the design of the open world. You know, you finish something, a little area, like you find an abandoned church and you clear out the enemies and you find something. And then you look over and there's like something on the horizon. You're like, well, I gotta go see what that is now. So they did such a good job building the whole world and making it look so pretty. It's so much fun to just look around the map and explore everything. The environments they did look fantastic. I absolutely love it. Uh, and because of that, the game does have, for me, a very certain... Okay, that was ferrets. Sorry, guys. The game has a huge amount of addictiveness. There's very few games, especially with my schedule as an adult, that I'm able to sit down and spend tons and tons of hours on a game. You know, with the exception of in the last 5 years of only two other games, this is the only game I've spent this much time on. So, and if it's a game I'm bad at and it's frustrating, but I'm still spending that much time, to me that shows how good of a game it truly is. So just like how addictive this game can be if you give it a chance, once it opens up a little bit, man, it's so much fun to just roam around, even if you don't do anything except for, you know, kill some mobs, get some ruins, level up. Still have I can spend hours doing that. It's so much fun. Uh, you know, another huge aspect for me, because I am so terrible at these games, and I'm just saying that to be completely honest. If you watch me play Bloodborne, or if you want to see any of this gameplay, I am not good at this game. Fully willing to admit that. But when you finally, you know, you get to a really hard enemy, you know, mostly the bosses, and you die 15, 20 times and you finally beat them, oh my god, there's just that overwhelming sense of satisfaction, just like accomplishment that you have, that you did something so big. Even though I'm sure there's tons of guys out there that are beating this boss on the first try or second try. For me to like just keep plugging away and not give up, man, it's so satisfying when you beat a huge enemy like that. I love it. Uh, the other thing that I want to, I don't, some people might not enjoy this aspect of the game, but the crafting part of it, which ties into the open world, because the whole time you're going around, you're finding different plants or like rock type, mineral type things to craft different items. You get different item crafting kits, you buy different recipes, all that kind of stuff. I think is really well done in this game. The best thing I can compare it to is my favorite open world game is Breath of the Wild. One of the things that Elden Ring does way better than Breath of the Wild is utilizing all the materials that you collect. Breath of the Wild, like after a certain point, like I didn't even bother getting anything. You're not going to use it. You don't need it. It's just kind of like extra there. But the stuff in this game is really, if you utilize it correctly, it's very useful. When you go into areas where there's enemies that do bleed damage or there's like poison on the ground, if you have like the boluses or the certain any of those things that you need to like counter those, oh my god, it makes your experience so much easier. So it makes the collecting and the crafting of those materials so much more useful and valuable that they really including that into a big open world really makes it worthwhile. So they did that right for sure. Um, and then, like I mentioned really briefly before, I do actually really like the secrets in the game. Finding like a hidden door, or you like activate some statue and it points you to a cave that you can enter, and it's like a mini dungeon. All that kind of stuff, man, just adds to the overall like sense that you want to keep exploring. You want to, just see what's around the next corner. You want to defeat that little mini dungeon with those little guys, annoying little gargoyles or whatever's in it, and just see what's inside that dungeon. They did such a wonderful job crafting the entire world, bringing it all together and making it feel like, you know, a really unique experience and a genre that can be one and the same for a lot of games. So I just love it so much, and it's one of those games that I'm not even close to beating after this many hours, but I'm nowhere near wanting to give up. I just want to keep pushing, keep going. And God, that's like they did something right. The developers did something right if they can capture you at that level. So that being said, to be fair, there are a few cons I have with the game. The first one, and this is probably a personal thing because I'm stupid, but whenever you get close to objects and so I play on PlayStation, and you're supposed to hit the triangle button to interact with it, to open up the chest or do whatever you're supposed to do. I'll hit the X, the triangle, and I'll emote instead of open it. And some of the emotes are really slow and long, and it's very frustrating because then you either have to sit there and wait for it to finish the emote, or you have to like roll backwards to like cancel it and then try to open the thing again. And I've checked, like, it's highlighted bright white and it's ready to click the triangle, and I still emote. So I don't know. I just don't like that. That's frustrating. Very minor gripe, that one, though. The second thing that's, like, really the only, like, other... It's kind of minor, but it's kind of not at the same time, is that I wish there was a little bit more variety and equipment, like armor and weapons, and then also where that you find those things. So, in the beginning of the game, I think I had the same armor set for, like, probably 40 hours or close to. So it was a long time. Not this thing I started with, but the second armor set I started wearing. I wore it for a really long time without, finding anything that was anywhere close to as good. So I didn't like that. The other thing I don't really like is, when you beat a really hard boss and you'll just get like an Ash of War or something. It just seems kind of not as rewarding. I wish that you would get like, something more substantial. Because then you'll find like, you'll be exploring one of the manors or a castle or whatever, and you'll find some random dead guy on top of a chandelier, and it'll have like an entire armor set that's like way better than what you have. So it's like, why is it all right there in one spot? I wish they would have just divided all the pieces and made better stuff from bosses. Some of the bosses feel very the rewards seem underwhelming to me, and you could completely disagree. I'd get that. So the last kind of like negative thing I have with the game, and this one is like I think my only like really big legit. Sorry guys, ferrets are keep jumping up here on my computer. My biggest complaint, and you can disagree with it, and I understand the other perspective, but for me, it's the multiplayer aspect of the game. I just really don't like the way they have it set up. As much as I love this game, and I played a lot of hours solo, I really enjoy playing with my friends. Getting on a microphone where we can just like joke around and like laugh about dying over and over. I just don't like how they handicap you when you go into someone else's world. Like, if you get to a site of grace, you should be able to interact with it. You should be able to touch it to save it for later, or just sit down and fill up. I don't like that they have it where whoever joins the other person's world has like a limited number of flasks. Obviously, the further you go, it's like a little bit more, but they drastically reduce those. And they just like handicap you, and I just don't like it. And I understand the spirit of the Souls games, where they're coming from, that it's, you know, that person's only meant to be there to help you to like beat a boss or whatever, but those are Souls games, and I understand this is under the same umbrella, but it's obviously a much different game. It's an open world. It's, you know, meant to be explored, and I really wish they would let you do that the way you want to do it. I wish you could join someone's world and just be like full on your full character. As you know, much fun as it is, I do like that you can die and not lose ruins. That is a saving grace when you join someone's world, but I would rather have trade-off and lose ruins and have all my flasks, be able to interact with the world like normal, and just like progress together. When you go through like the capital and you get to like you know, you beat a bunch of hard guys and you get to the next side of grace, I'd love to be able to, both people be able to get that at the same time instead of having to jump out and join the other person's world. It just, I don't know, that part really bothers me, I guess is the best way I could say it. I think they could do it better. But I mean, if that's the biggest problem in you know, this game, because it can obviously be played solo, I think that's how a lot of people play it. It's not the biggest problem in the other world. I just wish they would give players the option on how they want to play it. If I want to play it co-op multiplayer the whole time with my friends, I should be able to do that. That's just the way I feel about it. Not affecting my overall score of the game or anything, but just, you know, something I wish that was different, or at least we had the option to do. So, those being out of the way, one more topic I want to address with the game. Obviously, I've looked up a lot of stuff online, especially YouTube, you know, strategy on how to beat a boss or where to find a certain thing. And, you know, once you start watching something like a big topic like Elden Ring, then you start getting fed more videos by the algorithm within that subject. And one of the things that's so funny to me is that comes up with this game is the easy mode discussion. We'll just call it the easy mode discussion. And to me, I just think that's really stupid that people even think that there needs to be an easy mode. Once again, this is coming from a guy that is terrible at this game, fully admitting I'm terrible. If there's like a tier list, I'm in like the bottom tier of how good players are at this game. But it doesn't need an easy mode, and there's like a multitude of reasons why. First of all, you don't cater to a different audience than you're looking for. And I know it's going to sound hypocritical because I just said I want to be able to play multiplayer how I want to play, but that doesn't mean it has to be an easier game. This game, I don't think that FromSoft has ever made a game for everybody, and I don't think they probably ever will. It's supposed to be challenging. If it was easier, it wouldn't stand out. It wouldn't be unique, and that would hurt it a lot. You know, I've heard people say like, "Oh, it'll never be a Game of the Year contender because of its difficulty and this, you know, all these other reasons." And man, I just disagree with that wholeheartedly. You know, you don't make a movie that's for everybody. Every movie is for everybody. That no movies would, you know, attract different audiences or be intended for a specific audience or carry a certain message. Just like this game carries a certain message. This is for like, you know, top of the top players for the most part. You have to be good at the game. You've got to try. You've got to put the time in to practice, to learn the moves of an enemy to beat them, to level up everything you need to level up. And, you know, the other aspect of it, and this is, once again, I gotta say it, coming from somebody that's terrible at the game already has an easy mode. All you have to do is play the game. If you play the game, you can, if something's difficult, you don't have to beat it before you move on. You can move on, level up, get other equipment, other trinkets, weapons, whatever you need, spells, whatever you possibly need, you can get and come back and make it easier. Case in point, I'm going to show you this right here. this right here. This is, you know, me playing the game. This isn't, I didn't steal this footage from someone else. This is me taking down a dragon by myself, as you can see, fairly easily. The game has an easy mode. It's called playing the game and taking advantage of what you're supposed to do in the game, which is just explore and gather everything you're supposed to gather. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the game. I'm absolutely loving it. If I had to give it a score, man, 92 to 97 range. It's so good. You know, it's hard for me to say because I'm still in the middle of it. I will definitely do like a, you know, final thoughts video. But even if you don't like it and it's too hard, it's how do you give it a bad score? They do everything right. It's done so well. You know, people complain about games being released unfinished or unpolished. This has none of that. This game is so well done. So yeah, I don't get those criticisms, but it is what it is. Anyways, guys, thanks for checking out my impressions of Elden Ring, and I'll catch you next time.